I've been waiting for this to start so I could personally thank you for...
Okay, well, that's a little bit too much. Come on.
Actually, it's not, because I think you helped a lot of people in various creative businesses and arts realize and help us pave the way to just not be one thing. It made it possible for people to take a chance on us because they looked at your brand and thought, oh, I want a piece of that. And if that person can maybe bring that, and it was because of your $1 billion incredible financial success. Also, I think what you did, which also was a very tone-setting thing for women in business, was make it authentic, make it true to yourself, make it something that doesn't seem like such a bananas departure, like, what are you doing? For people to take a step into your world and literally walk in your shoes. And so I thank you on behalf of all of the people who have been brand builders since you launched yours, because you made it viable for us all to do so, because yours was such a success. So you really are the original.
Like, watch people like at the airport or walking down the street. I mean, we love street style. I was dating a guy at the time, and I would look at everybody and how they dressed their very best to be at his concert, and like, what was their outfit. And I really, that was like kind of my mold. Like, I looked at everybody, what they dressed as their best. And I was like, that type of stuff helps the inspiration behind everything.
I'm like,
that was like at the beginning.
I'm like, I wonder what concert that was. Well,
yeah. Well, I have dated a couple musicians, though. Some under the radar that people don't know about. But we like to keep some secrets.
I'm so curious.
Well, that is definitely not being told.
I will say, it's always
if you
fun.
Give me your phone number, I'll call you and tell you.
For sure. And it's also just so fun when you can get away with it. I don't know if you've had this experience. Also, there's something really embarrassing about when you go on like one date with a guy and all of a sudden you're inextricably linked and everybody thinks that you've had this whole thing and you're just like, I don't even know them. I thought about it, but now I'm like, I'm linked to you.
I always felt like, I mean, yes, I had my list and I checked my list off as if I was a dude or something, but I felt like anytime it started to get a little bit serious, like I was the person to run from, because every guy would be listening to their publicist who would be like, stay away. You'll never be a respected actor. You'll never be a respected musician if you're dating her. But that was, back then. So at least that was the excuses I heard. Kind of random info that I just gave you. I felt like we're like two friends talking. Sorry.
We are. Listen, we've been through some bizarro, unorthodox, life, romance, writing. I do find, I hope it's not okay. I hope it's okay to be
very inspirational for me as I was on my way to writing Open Book and my memoir. Like listening to your voice was also, it was soothing, it was entertaining. There's so much about your memoir that I really just admired, and yours was one of the first that I studied before I got into it. But I mean, I really just opened all of my journals from my past, and it kind of all married itself into just a very interesting take on my inner child. And in the release of the memoir, and now having to I get to be partners with Amazon, which is awesome, and have all these projects in the works. So it's fun to release your narrative, your side of the story, your truth, and your honesty, and just to show that you do have flaws. We're all trying to work it out in this life. We're all just trying to do it the best we can, and to manifest the greatness in ourselves.
I have so much respect, because in some ways I feel like mine was easier because I was a kid and I didn't have a family at stake. And then when I got divorced, it was such a tragedy for me personally that I really flailed as a human being.
Failure in general, like I feel like as creative people and artists, like we're such perfectionists. And me even growing up like in the church and as a preacher's daughter, I had like a standard of what marriage was supposed to be. And oh wow, it really wasn't that within the first week. So it was like, whoa, okay, so it's not like that fairy tale. But I got married really young.
I remember, and I mean, did the religious services also, give a blueprint for how you would live with inviting the world in? And really, again, let's just talk about you again as a paving the way leader. You did a television show before there was such a thing. There was not even almost reality TV. It was a new genre.
Yeah, it was like one of the first. It was at the Osbournes in the Real World, and then Nick and I.
Yes.
Those were the Newlyweds. Yeah. So like for our marriage, I mean, it was definitely like stressful. We did have fun. I mean, up until like the end of the last season, did it get to be just overwhelming because we were at a place where our communication was no longer communication anymore. Like it was very one-sided on each side, And for me, like I just because I have, a pedestal to use my gifts on, it makes me no different than anybody else. Like I was even judged in the church growing up, like singing on stage. Like I had to wear like blazers, vests, turtlenecks, because if I just wore a regular shirt like all the rest of the girls, I mean, when I would sing, I would feel the Holy Spirit and get chill bumps, and apparently people would lust, and so I had to cover it all up. So I've literally been judged for my body like since I was a kid.
I have
and
to
that was,
say,
like, judged in the church, and then after the church, it was like, no, be sexier. But then it was like, oh, but you always have to look that way. If you do it once, you have to remain that body forever, and that is what you should be, like, I mean, turning in my weight to the label, it's not okay,
No, but I was reading the story of your scale, and that, when Eric threw your scale away when you were weighing yourself with, I think it was Birdie, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was much heavier than my husband, who played in the NFL. So that pregnancy really did me in. Almost 5'4", 260 was real heavy for me.
I love that you took that scale and you were like, throw it out. I don't want to look at it anymore.
I was like, when I would go into the doctor's office, I would just stand on it backwards. I'm like, just don't tell me. I mean, even though I had to work really hard to get the weight off, like I did it and I committed. And I think if you're disciplined, it can come off. I mean, you can still eat a dang cookie. You know what I mean? Like I hate diets.
I know, I do too.